as I write in my future husband prayer journal. Y'all know we are being intentional on our about praying for our love lives this year and our future spouses, but also today we are going to talk about being intentional about preparing yourself to be a wife, because y'all, it is not enough for us to just pray for these men. We have to prepare ourselves, okay, to receive said men when God brings them into our lives. And such a good experience. So if you are being intentional about praying for your future husband, I encourage you to make it an intimate thing, to make it like a date, if you will. Get out the house, sis, find a place and start writing out all of the things that God is putting in your heart as you cover your future husband in prayer.
Hello, welcome back to the channel, and I thank you all for coming out this day. All right, so I found a brand new video. This one's from Only Lady V, and she's talking about how she asked married women what she could do in order to prepare for her future husband. And I know I'm probably going to skip a lot through that first little set. So I'm not sure exactly what you're going to see right now as I am shooting this video. And I noticed that her video was a little long, so I'm just trying to cut to the meat of it. All right, so just to let you know. But anyway, I do agree with the essence of what she's talking about. And again, if you've been tracking with me on this channel for a while, you know that I do encourage both men and women to be praying for their future spouse now. All right, you need to be covering them. Okay, God knows every single possibility of person that you could end up with, whether that's just one person or literally 100. There's, like I said, I truly believe that there's multiple people out there that you can easily be with. And I believe that if you lean into God, He will lead you down the path to find which one of them is the good person and which people to actually stay away from. So one of the things that I definitely would encourage you to do is to be praying, but also lean into the Holy Spirit, because a lot of times God literally will tell you that you can talk to this person, and then this other person, I don't want you even being around. And I know that sounds crazy for those that are not really into the whole spiritual thing, but today, we're going to go down a little bit more of a spiritual route. So I just wanted to make sure that I put that out there, so that for the women that are out there and or men, like I said, that are praying, you definitely want to do that, but you also want to lean into what God is saying, because a lot of times God really is trying to tell you no. All right. And a lot of times we don't want to hear those no's because we come up with a million different excuses. And God knows how to talk to you specifically. All right. So generally speaking, anything with God is easy. All right. And anything without God is difficult. So if you find, that you're trying to talk to somebody, but then as you're trying to, be on the phone with them, their service keeps cutting out. Or, when you try to do a FaceTime, you can never catch a signal. Or, when you're trying to go hang out with them, you get a flat tire, or you're always in traffic, as you actually try to go see them. See, these sometimes are signs that God is saying, this ain't the one. All right. Because in the beginning, what God will try to do for most of us is He will try to protect that and allow you to have a little bit of ease in the beginning, so that He can kind of move you down the route that, you're supposed to. So don't, deny these signs. And each one of them is going to hit everybody differently, because, He knows what hurts you. Like some people don't mind being in traffic. They'll put in an audio book and then they're just happy, or they're singing a song and then they're good. So they don't really care so much about traffic. But then other people, it bothers us. Like we want to, strangle somebody. So that's kind of what I'm saying. So if you know the traffic bothers you, that might be God's sign to you. But if you know that it doesn't really bother you that much, you can't lean into it. So you have to look at what is the thing that is in you that triggers you, because God knows how to get to you and actually to talk to you. So just make sure that your ears are open, your eyes are open, and that you're paying attention. But also you have to make sure that you make that declaration to the Holy Spirit to say, I am okay with you guiding me. All right. Because if you don't say that, and if you don't lean into that, then God is not going to do that. And He's just going to kind of let you go. And like I said, if you read enough of the Bible, you either going down God's way and you're kind of letting Him lead, or He's like, oh, well, you do your own thing. All right, go have fun over there. All right. Hope you have fun. Tell me if anything goes wrong. All right. Go have fun. All right.
I've just felt led to start being intentional about preparing myself to be a wife. Now, I'm not saying that this is my season of marriage, but I'm also not saying that this is my season of marriage. Honestly, y'all, if I could just share with y'all all of the divine and miraculous ways God has been speaking to me about my love life, the signs that he's been giving me, like, my friends know it is literally blowing my mind. And so I'm feeling like, you know what? I have never actually read any resources that focus on actually preparing to be a wife, right? And so that's what I'm going to start doing. And I'm excited because one of the books that I ordered is here, and I'm about to get it right now. Then I'm gonna come back and talk to you.
One of the main things on this channel that we talk about to be ready and to know that you're ready and to know that a person is ready is that they should be walking in wife energy or be walking in husband energy. One of the main reasons why a lot of women and men don't get married is because they're not walking in husband and or wife energy. Now, there are a lot of people, in fact, most people in our current environment in America are walking in a way that is girlfriend or boyfriend. So what does this really mean? Well, it really means they take no ownership. They really don't care, and they're just along for the ride. All right. And a lot of people really don't know the difference. They really don't know the difference. And, I can only really talk through it, through the women that I've dated and the other people that I've seen, and I've talked to. But again, just to give you an example, a man that walks in husband energy, what he's going to do is he's going to cover you like a husband. Remember, it's not going to start on day one. Same thing with a woman. It's not going to start on day one. And in fact, if you know that you're that type of person, you actually need to pull back, because 9 times out of 10, the other person is not going to be ready. They are jaded based off of the environment that we're in. And a lot of times they might think that you're trying to manipulate them when really you're just being yourself. And I've had to have this unfortunate conversation with so many people over at Christian Singles Connect, because a lot of women, especially, I do find more women do this than men, but a lot of women will come in and they're really trying to cover the man in the very beginning. They're trying to do everything from pray for him to cook for him, to massage his back, blah, blah, blah. And then they get upset when they get used or abused or the guy doesn't, return, that energy. But see, that is why, I'm always telling people in that first 45 to 90 days, really leaning more towards 90 days, that is your time of evaluation. And what I also am noticing is that more people try to make the relationship work than people that are saying, hey, I'm going to go and I'm going to find someone who really works for me. Now, when I say that, remember, I truly believe you're only going to get about 2/3 of what you're looking for. So if you get 65%, you've done very well. All right. But if you get 70, 80%, you are excellent. I mean, take that person to the, I mean, you go on a destination wedding, get married now, go to Vegas, because that's actually rare. All right. And so I think people have to have both in mind. But what do I mean? Like I said, when I'm talking about, finding that, husband and or wife energies, like I said, when I'm dating a woman, she's not going to feel as though I am trying to get over on her. She might see small things that she thinks are big things, but they're really not. It's just husbandly things. When I care about a woman, I'm going to care about her like she is my wife. So for instance, like I said, I've had situations where a woman's, honestly, her shoe will come untied. And then I might reach down and I actually might tie her shoe. Or I might, unbuckle or buckle, her heel, because maybe she's walking in heels and, something's going on and she doesn't feel comfortable. So I might, reach down and, kind of adjust her heel for her, the little strap. And there are men that won't do that. They absolutely won't do that. And I've been told by several women that when I have done that, their whole way that they saw me, just shot straight up. But see, a husband covers his wife. He's very concerned about, is she hurting while she's walking? Does she feel good? Is everything working out for her? And that's why, like, even on this channel, because I know a lot of men don't like heels, and I'm always telling people I love heels on women. But the thing about it is, I don't like heels that hurt women's feet. And see, that's a totally different thing. And it's because I still walk in husband energy. I like the sexiness of a heel, yes, but I want the woman to be comfortable. And guys, believe it or not, whether you're male or female, there are heels that are comfortable. Okay. And there are even ways to make uncomfortable heels comfortable. I've been around women long enough to know, how to do that. So these are some of the things that I'm talking about. And it seems so small, but it's the essence of being a husband. It's the same thing, an essence of being a wife. A woman might see you and she might see, oh, you have a rash or something breaking out, and she might literally ask you, okay, what are you eating? Maybe we need to get more veggies in you. Are you still eating those Twinkies? You got to stop eating those Twinkies. I mean, she'll start to have conversations with you like that. And that's showing you that she cares about your health. And not just your health, she also might care about your mental health. All right. She might care about, your clothes if you're going for an interview or something like that. So that is how a woman is coming in, and she's covering you with wife energy. We got to get away from thinking the fun energy is what you're looking for. You're really not looking for that. That's actually the easy thing to find. And everybody is fun, but everybody's fun in a different way. Do not believe that the social world of dealing with, going out and drinking and popping bottles and all up in the club and dancing and singing, in your little chair is fun. Because for some people, fun is going to be going to a museum. For some people, fun is going to be going on a hike. So everybody is fun, but you have to find the person that is fun like you.
I just felt like it's not enough for us to just pray and cover our future husbands in prayer. We have to be intentional about preparing ourselves to be a wife. That way, when God does align our path with that of our purpose partner and husband, that we too can be an answered prayer to him, that we are healthy, that we are healed, that we have dealt with our emotional baggage, that we have done the work, that we are ready, that we have learned patience and submission, that we have learned to bridle our tongues and speak life over that man instead of speaking negativity over that man. Y'all know women, we have power in our tongues to either uplift our men or tear our men down. And a lot of women out there using that power to tear these men down. But that's a topic for a different day. Okay. Just like you would study for a test or prepare for a job interview, you have to prepare for the position of wife in the godly marriage that God is getting ready to bring to you. Okay. And that is what I am doing in this season, which is why I got this book. It is here. It is called Positioning Yourself to Be a Wife by Shamika Dean.
One of the things I will say, I will try to put that book down in the description if you guys want to go check it out. I've never read it. I cannot, amen it or not amen it, but she amened it. So if you want to check it out, you can see it in the description. Now, what she just said, I agree with. I agree with about 95% of what she said. But one of the things, again, that I am going to make sure that we all understand, I always talk about childhood, I'm always amazed at how many quote unquote dating coaches out here are not talking about childhood. Most of the issues that we all face come from childhood, and even the Bible says it. Train up a child in the way that they will go, and they will never depart from it. All right, so you guys have heard me talk about that, and the problem that people have is that a lot of us come from toxic environments. Like even with me, like I said, I'm always trying to use myself as an example, saying I am not perfect. Parents were married for 19 years. All right. And about half of that marriage, they were arguing, fussing and fighting, all the other kind of stuff, before they got a divorce. And like my sister is older than me. So even though, my parents still got, a divorce, she never really went through the worst of it. Okay, I went through the worst of it. I was still in the house when the worst of it was going through before I went to college. But my sister had left for college before the worst of it happened. All right, so now let's fast forward into today. My marriage lasted almost exactly the amount of time as my parents, in my life. So like I said, I was 19 when they got a divorce. I was married for 18 years. You see how that goes together? My sister really, while she did see some bad times, she saw a lot of good times, and she's still married today, which is well over 25 years. Okay, so now you see the difference, right? So we're both very committed people to our marriages, but I didn't understand all of the things I needed to in order to continue to make that marriage strong. And that's why I tell you all the time, do not allow the devil an inch, because I allowed an inch. All right. But for you, I don't want you to. I don't want you to allow an inch, and you have to prepare and to be ready. Now, the problem with everything is that many of you have never seen a marriage. You haven't. You might have come from a single mom, or you might had a situation where, your parents never got married. And then even as a guy, you might have went to live with your dad, but you still only saw one parent. And while, statistics might say that single dads do a much better job than single moms, I truly believe that children need both a mom and a dad. And again, as you've tracked with me, I've said that consistently. All right. So this is not a ratings thing or whatever it is or pandering. This is just simply what my belief is. This is how God created us. And I truly believe that that's what both sides need. But here's the kicker. If you have not had that, if you have never seen it, then you don't understand it. All right. And that's why in the description, you will see things like sitcoms. And I'm always encouraging you guys to check out sitcoms. I'm also encouraging you to watch TV shows and anything else that has a relationship in it. All right. Because for 18 years, you were supposed to watch two people try to make it work. But for many of you, you never had it. And you can't go back in time and get that time. But what you can do is you can try to train your mind right now to see what a relationship looks like. That's why I encourage you all to watch, like I said, these type of relationship shows, okay, and watch them over and over and over again. All right. There's so many of them that you could probably watch an hour of them before you go to bed. And many of the jokes, even though some of them are old, like I even talked about, I Love Lucy, which is in black and white. I can watch that, which was way before my time, and I can still laugh. All right. So a lot of these will still help you to understand, kind of how a relationship works. Because like I told you, I am true to what you see on the screen. Okay. That's what I'm all about. And if you've never had that, like I said, you have to put it in your head. You have to put it in your spirit. And then once you get married, you have to do everything in your power, okay, to fight off the division that will happen. And it is going to happen, okay, because when you get married, and I know a lot of people have been talking about this lately, especially for the women, because some women, they're spending their whole life thinking about the wedding day, okay, because that's what media is pushing. But the wedding day doesn't mean anything. In fact, I'm going to be honest with you, like I said, my background is wedding photography. All right. And I actually might put up a few pictures if I can find them so you can see some of my work, to kind of prove again, what I say is true. And I can tell you that most of the weddings out there is a totally waste of money. These big weddings and all this money and all the stuff that they're spending is truly a waste of money. And that's how I was getting paid. I was getting paid. You know what I'm saying? And I still have people every once in a while call me to do photography for their wedding. But I can tell you it is much better to do a destination wedding or just go to the courthouse. I can really just tell you that you can save that money, use it as an investment. But I also understand that, especially for my heart types, okay, they really want that wedding because their emotions are caught up in it. And I get it. So I'm not going to be saying no to it. And a lot of you guys know, like I say, that I'm divorced. And if I get married again, if she's either younger or she's a heart type, then I know we might end up having a wedding ceremony. So don't beat me up about that. But that's the woman's decision, not the man's decision. As a man, I'm just like, okay, tell me where to stand and what to wear. And I'm good. All right. What do I mean by all of this? Like I said, you have to constantly push. And that's the thing I want you guys to know, because as I'm going through her video right now, I don't see she's saying some good stuff, but then, I want to make sure that I'm really locking in the key elements, for my group to make sure that you all see and understand what you need to do in order to prepare for marriage. But a lot of marriage is about ownership. You're owning the other person. It's not like I say, not like a slave. You're owning their health. You're owning their hopes, their dreams, their concerns. And so their concerns become your concerns. Their worries become your worries. Their health becomes your health. All right. And this is why so many people need to get in the gym. And I'm not saying y'all got to be perfect, but y'all need to be getting in the gym, and you don't need to keep giving yourself excuses.
Also decided to take this a bit further, and I reached out to my married and divorced girlfriends, my community, and I asked them, what advice would you give to single women desiring marriage? Please start preparing yourself to be a wife. All right, so here's what they said in no particular order. Date yourself, love yourself, embrace your imperfections, go to therapy, unpack your trauma, learn to communicate, set boundaries, and stand firm in your boundaries. This journey of self-love and self-discovery will empower you to never settle for just anyone, but to choose a partner who truly values and respects you.
I'm gonna stop fighting this whole dating yourself thing, because I think I fought that, and I'm just gonna lose. I'm gonna die on that hill. I think it's just a terminology. Men don't like that term because we go out by ourselves all the time, but we don't call it dating ourselves. So I think it's just the terms that women use. So I'm gonna personally allow myself to die on that hill and just not worry about that. Now everything else that the woman said is pretty much good to me. Definitely being healed, getting through any traumas and all that kind of stuff, and just preparing yourself. Now the whole thing about settling, I think we always have to go into the settling, because a lot of times what I'm finding, and like I say, I'm finding this more and more, and I even talked about it a little bit in the earlier part of the video, and that is women and their choices and what they're picking, what they're allowing themselves to be picked. Because what I see more and more is that a lot of women really just kind of roll with the first dude that shows up, which is always very odd to me. I don't really quite understand that. I've talked to women about it, but it's almost as though the guy just comes along. He seems like he might be a decent dude. There's no true evaluation, within that 45 to 90 day period. Instead, there's more of a romanticized, oh, I just want to fall in love. Oh, I just want to, feel all these feelings. And because of that, a lot of women end up with really crappy guys. And then if they marry them, they feel like they settled. And the problem with the settling concept is over time, we all get pickier. We all do. Men do and women do. And there's nothing really wrong with that per se. But see, then you'll get, especially for the women that are watching, they'll get into a concept of unrealistic expectations. And so that's why I'm always saying you're going to get about 65 to 70% of what you're looking for, about 2/3. All right. And the reason why I'm saying that is because I don't want your expectations to get too high. But at the same time, I don't want them to be low. See, if you're under 50%, then they're low. But if you're always pushing and pushing and pushing and saying, oh, he needs to almost be perfect or she needs to almost be perfect, then it's too high. So we have to kind of put you in a perfect window for success. But then at the same time, you as a woman have to put yourself in really great positions, and men have to put themselves in really great positions. And we're all trying to figure this out. Where are the best places to go, where to hang out, what to do over here, what to do over there. All right. And people throw out, ideas all the time. But even when people are there, they still have to activate the energy to do what they need to do. Like there's several events over time, in passing, I've kind of talked about, on this channel, like one of them being, the High Frequency Friday that happens at the High Museum here in Atlanta. And some of you, maybe based off of what I've said, because I know I have, viewers in Atlanta, might have gone and check it out because it's every, I think, first Friday of every month. But here's the whole thing. If you as a lady go there and you still are more picking men with your eyes instead of trying to really figure out who you can talk to, and then you're not going in there saying, I want to talk to men, I just want to be picked by men, and then I want to be picked by the certain type of man that I want, okay, or you're dressed a certain way, or a man tries to talk to you, but you won't, you're putting yourself in the same situation. So you can't say, okay, I want to take this energy and I want to do X, Y, Z with it. And then you get into that environment and then you don't, you still kind of do the same thing you've always done. And so that's kind of part of it is, for women, it's like I've said before, a lot of you, you're going to have to talk to men. And you don't have to give every man your phone number. That's why I encourage every woman to have a Google number or some kind of secondary number where you can give that man your secondary number. And then you can evaluate him to figure out whether or not he is worthy of your main number.
The person said, develop your relationship with God. It is hard to build a solid foundation with your husband when you yourself have no foundation in God. Ooh, okay. Another one says to let go of what you thought marriage would be like and embrace what it is. Turn off the noise from the internet and stop looking to others for the do's and don'ts of marriage, and instead tune into yourself and listen to God. And I think this is a good one.
Yeah, I was going to say, I was going to amen that one. Because again, a lot of people are so focused in on what the romanticized television version of marriage is. All right. Instead of being paying attention to what it really is. And what it really is two totally different people trying to work it out every single day. It does not mean there's going to be a fight every day. It does not mean that you guys are going to be at odds with each other. But it means that there's going to be stuff you're going to go through. And as you go through those things, okay, you have to remember there's going to be forces trying to tear you apart. And even if you don't believe in God, even if that's not your thing, there's still going to be other women that are going to pop up, other men that are going to pop up. You're going to have cars that break down. You're going to have children that act a nut. And so what's going to happen is as you're dealing with all these issues, okay, that is going to encourage that relationship to fall apart. So you have to kind of get up every morning with the mindset of, I am going to make this thing work. I am going to make it work. I am going to do everything I can today to make it work. All right. And then be in constant prayer for that. Okay. Because again, don't listen to even the world right now is trying to say marriage is worthless and this, that, and the third. But again, I'm trying to let y'all know that even when people say that, they're going against the grain. People that are married generally make more money. People that are married are generally happier. So even though you have divorce looming, even though you have pain looming, it can be worth it, but you have to have the right mindset and you have to have the right energy. And then you have to work on that every single day. And this is why I'm constantly trying to, get you guys to marry people and to pay attention to people that are your friend. Because it's much easier to be working this life with a friend that you just happen to find so sexy that you want to, do extracurricular activities with, than it is when all you really want to do is just say, oh, they're cute. Because a cute person, it lasts a little while, but then you get bored with them real quick. And when they start acting up, then you don't want to be bothered with them.
I know for me personally, I've stopped saying like relationship goals when I see other couples like post on the internet, because A, we don't really know what be going on behind the scenes anyway. Okay. And B, just because I don't want to start training my mind to think that my relationship has to look like somebody else's. I want a relationship that is perfect for me in all of its imperfections. And so I really love that advice from one of my friends. Another person says, truly take the time to get to know yourself, who you are, what you like and dislike, what you are looking for in a man. Some of my friends even noted that they wish they had dated more so that they could know what qualities they wanted in a husband. But they said that knowing themselves better would have helped them determine what they were willing to allow in their relationships. And some of this came from some of my friends who are now divorced, y'all, or who went through some things in their marriage. And it really speaks to me the importance of knowing what you want and what you desire in a spouse so that you don't allow certain things in your marriage.
Amen. That, and that's why I'm always telling you all to know who you are, to know yourself. And even when I start talking about the instinct types, the thinking types, and the heart types, generally is going to be the thinking type that doesn't quite know themselves. I find that of all the people, they're the ones that are kind of ignoring their natural way. And the reason why it can be this way is because a lot of thinkers, they really kind of latch on to different mentor type people around them. And they can literally have lots and lots of people that they consider to be their mentors. And a lot of times thinkers will take on the energy of said mentor, right? And because of this, a lot of women feel lost. And that's when you hear women saying, I lost myself. All right. Because what it really means is that they didn't really know who they were or what they wanted out of life. And so they've adopted somebody's energy and then they've taken it upon themselves. And I'm always talking about with thinkers. And like I say, if you see the screen up right now, it says that they're well-rounded. Okay, and the reason why thinkers are well-rounded is because they're generally leaning upon so many people to kind of give them little bits of advice in order for them to put a foot in this, corner, a foot in this corner, a foot in this corner, a foot in this corner, XYZ, and it makes them feel very rounded. All right, and a lot of them don't really know what they want. And like I told you, most of the women that I date happen to be thinkers. And they really like the fact that, I am so locked into who I am. And so they like to come on board with that. But one of the things that I've learned as an instinct-based man is that when I'm dealing with a thinker, I have to make sure that she knows what she wants. And so I'm always taking my time to say, okay, do you know what you want right here? What is it that you really want? I'm saying one thing, but what do you really want? And a lot of instinct-based women, okay, that are following me right now, if you date a thinking man, you as a woman have to do that. All right? You have to do that. You have to make sure that the man, and see, a lot of you all will talk about these types of guys, ladies, instinct-based ladies, because you'll say, well, all these guys are just kind of doing what I tell them to do, or, they don't seem like they have a personality. Or if I say I like a certain type of movie, then they say they like that movie. Or if I say I like to vacation, then they'll say they like to vacation. See, I know what you guys are talking about. And then y'all talk about the representative. Okay, does that make sense now? The representative. Well, the representative shows up in thinking men. Okay, not in instinct-based men or heart-based men. It shows up in thinking-based men. And men do the same thing. We deal with women who show up as the representative. Okay, but the difference is between instinct-based men, we like that in women. We find that very attractive. Because when a woman comes to us, that means that she is blending into us a lot more seamlessly. But a lot of women who are looking for men to take the lead don't necessarily like that when it comes to men. And that's why I'm telling thinking men, okay, what you all need to do is you need to read books. You need to find other mentors, whether you find them on the internet or wherever, but you need to make sure that they're lining up to the ultimate goal of what you want out of your life. And then as you're leaning into those men, okay, to use them as your mentors, okay, you need to not necessarily say everything that they say around your woman. All right? Because your woman doesn't need to believe that you don't have it together and have an understanding. All right? And I could go deeper into that. I don't really have time for this particular video. But if you want to know more, just let me know. And if I see it in the comments, then I'll try to do another video specifically talking to that.
Friend said to invest in genuine friendships before getting married. They are valuable, and it can become hard to find great friends after marriage.
Okay, here's the thing I have to talk about when it comes to friends, because I know I've talked about this a little bit before. Friendship is extremely important, and I definitely encourage you all to have friends, from a men to have male friends, women to have female friends. However, this is extremely important, okay? Your friends do not override your person, all right? Now, in the very beginning, you got a lot of friends, you're single right now. Yes, that makes sense for you to lean more into your friends than to your person because, you're just getting to know them. But once you are married and as you move towards marriage, like I say, more and more time should be spent with your person. And you should actually appreciate and want to spend more time with your person than you do with your friends. However, and I've kind of said this before, and I'm saying this kind of in reverse for this video because it's a little bit different. So if you are married, do not allow your friendships to die. Okay, that's really important. And I don't think I've said that before, but I think I'm saying it because it's a little bit of a different type of video today. So if you are in that situation, what you want to do is you always want to spend time with your friends. Again, for ladies, I think they need a little bit more connection. It's something about women. I think they just need a little bit more connection. So I would say if you want to do a brunch or, y'all want to go out and have lunch together or something like that, if you did that like every other month, that would be good. And even when you have children, you can have your husband to watch the children while you go out with your girlfriends. But when you start to go on girls' trips, especially more than one girls' trip, okay, a year, you're really starting to push it. See, that's that place when you're starting to push it. All right. You want to spend time with your friends. Yes. You want to talk on the phone with them. Yes. You want to meet up in person with them. Yes. You want to go over their house. Yes. You want to babysit for them. Yes. All those things are good. You should not want to spend more time with them than your husband. It's almost like you're going to get a quick fix and then you're coming back home. That's the point I'm trying to make. All right. So I can't really give you exact dates and times and stuff like that because, your mileage may vary. But what you really want to do is you want to kind of spend time with your friends, but spend most of the time with your person. And you never, and this is really important these days, and I don't care if you're a male or female, you never want to betray the trust of your person. And so if you find that your friends are trying to take you into places so that they can cheat, because really your friends should be married. It is a huge positive if all of your friends are married or engaged, because single friends pull you into single activity and they want you to hang out in single activity. So you don't want to be hanging around where there's a lot of singles. So like, for instance, here in Atlanta, it's one thing to go to brunch. It's another thing to try to go to, some of these restaurants where a lot more men are hanging out, for women, a lot more men are hanging out, or women that are saying, hey, I want to go to this place where I know that there's a lot of single men, and you know that you're either engaged or you're married. You shouldn't do that because you're bringing upon yourself temptation, and you don't really want to do that. And your single friend really shouldn't drag you into that. All right. And that's kind of what I'm saying, because you don't want to betray the trust of your person. Because trust is like, like people say, it's like a glass. And as soon as you break it, okay, you can try to put it back together, but it's never the same.
Lose yourself in your relationship or be too quick to compromise on your boundaries or the things that you want. I had a couple of people say go to premarital counseling and have the difficult conversations before marriage. You've got to have the hard conversations and do the hard work before you get married, as these are things that can make or break your marriage. And I think they also had shared some books that they had read during their premarital counseling class. I think one was Before I Say I Do or Before You Say I Do. All right, just a couple of more.
Here's the thing on premarital counseling. I 100% believe in premarital counseling. But one of the things that I found out, because I went through it myself and I know people that have gone through it and they're still divorced, it's not strong enough. It's not hard enough. It really doesn't push you to your limit. So while I do encourage you to go through it, I also encourage you, like she said, to have the super duper hard, crazy conversations. That little message in the back of your head where you're like, I don't know if she's about this. And then, like I said, if it ain't right, just leave. Like if you are a man, that 100% believes in submission, you just believe in it. That's just your thing. And the woman is just like, I ain't doing it. I ain't believing in it. That's a red flag. Get out. You might say, well, this woman is perfect. No, she's not. No, she's not. Because you believe in something that she doesn't believe, and that is a core value. A core value. Okay, it's like with God. A woman might say, he's great, but he doesn't believe in God. Get out, sis. Okay? Because, if he ain't believing in it, that's a core value. And you have to figure out what are your core, C-O-R-E, core values. Because if the person don't got your core values, it ain't gonna work. And it might work for 10 years, it might work for 15. And some people can just make it work forever because maybe they just got it like that. But for a lot of people, if they don't have those core values, it will fall apart. And another thing I want to say real quick about attractiveness, because a lot of people, really lean into attractiveness. And one of the things that I've learned about attractiveness is if you relax, you will find that many times that your person is a lot more attractive than what you believe that they are. Because a lot of times what we really base our what we think is attractive on is media and, like I say, things that we're used to, things that we grew up with. All right. And so a lot of times we bypass really beautiful people, both male and female, because we're so concerned about reaching this ideal that we might have idolized as a child or that we saw on television. So for instance, some of the women, that are a little bit older might be in love with somebody like Morris Chestnut. And they might really be trying to get a guy that looks like Morris Chestnut and feels like Morris Chestnut. But while you might find that that man is attractive, you have other guys that look like Michael B. Jordan that you might be bypassing trying to get to Morris Chestnut. And so that's what I'm trying to say. And some women might say, well, both of them are handsome. Well, you're that type of woman that can go back and forth. But some women have a hard time doing that. All right. And so what I'm saying is when you have a guy in front of you and you can look at him and you can say, wow, this guy is handsome. At that point, you should be okay with talking to him. And the same thing for guys, when you can look at a woman and say, oh, she's attractive. Oh, she's cute. And a lot of people are really attractive. Like I said, most people really are. Now, again, I've talked about it. I put the video up so you guys can go take a look if you care to take a look. But there's more to it because people got to put themselves together. All right. And so a lot of y'all just got to put yourselves together so that you will be attractive. All right.
Before you marry, make sure you're really okay with who that person is. Habits are hard to change. So if there's a habit you don't like, you have to make sure you're okay with it should it never change, because of course you can't change a man. So that's important. And like I said, I got plenty more, but I just tried to summarize a couple because I don't want to make this video too long. I'm just sharing these with you all so that you can hear directly from married women and women who are now divorcees on how we as single women can better prepare ourselves for marriage.
All right. So the easiest thing, ladies, like I said, I definitely think you should prepare yourself. But one of the main things that you need to do to prepare yourself, this is specifically for the ladies, but like I said, the guys can get something out of it as well, is ladies, what you definitely need to do is you need to know the type of man that you're looking for. And I know for a lot of you that doesn't really make sense, but it does. Because what's going to happen, okay, I guarantee, if you have been in a relationship, all right, and it lasted longer than 3 years, then that man has energy, okay? He has a personality. He has a way that he moves, all right? And I'm saying all that is energy. I can put all of it, wrap it up in the term energy. Okay, so I want you to kind of understand it. His clothes, the way, all of it. Okay, what he likes on television, blah, blah, blah. And despite yourself, okay, despite wherever you are in your life right now, I don't care if you're 18, I don't care if you're 80, you're attracted to that energy. You're attracted to it. And if the guy didn't work out before, what you will do is you'll date that same guy in a different body. And you'll do it over and over and over again. And basically the Bible talks about it. Okay. It basically talks about it. It basically, calls you a fool when you do that. Okay. But we all do it. Men do it too. But the difference is that men have such a desire for pretty women. I'll be honest with you. And to have, somebody with them that a lot of times they're able to jump out of that. They're able to jump out of that energy. But a lot of women literally choose men based off that energy. They'll say things like, oh, well, we don't have any chemistry. They love to use that term, chemistry. Okay, but you don't have chemistry with men that you've never been around. So if he has a different energy, you're going to say, we don't have chemistry. I guarantee it. And I've said it myself. I've been with, I've dated different women and I'm like, wow, we have no chemistry. Absolutely no chemistry. But I don't focus on the chemistry to figure out whether or not I'm going to try to stay in that relationship. Instead, what I try to focus on is who is this woman? How does she act? Does she have a personality that can work with me? Do we talk? Do we have fun together? Blah, blah, blah. That is what I'm focusing on in order to figure out whether or not I want to continue in that. And that's what I'm encouraging you to do as well. Because the more you're around the guy, the more you guys will get chemistry. Now, this is not me telling the women to go with some loser dude or whatever it is. I'm not saying that. Because there's a lot of different types of chemistry. Like, for instance, I talk a lot about the instinct type, where there's not just one instinct type. There's multiple instinct types. I don't go into that level of detail because, really it's irrelevant. There's an instinct type that is a lot more, I probably would say grandfather-ish, old school. And that's actually my energy type. Okay, I'm a lot more old school. I'm a lot more chill. I am, the guy that sits in the room, doesn't really say anything until you talk to him. And then I can't, you can't shut me up, because I got ways to help everybody live their life better. Then you have other instinct types that, really just want to have a lot more fun. Okay, they definitely have a demandingness about them, and they're just a little bit more social, okay, than a guy like me. But we're both instinct types. But if you like the more social type of guy, because you have been, you're the type that's been in the club a little bit more, maybe your ex was in the club, then that's probably going to be that instinct type that you're going to run into over and over and over again. Where my instinct type is more where I'm not going to be in a club 9 times out of 10. You might see me at church, but you probably won't again, because I'm not going to really show up. I'm going to show up more in more intimate settings, and also in things like, maybe if I want to go hiking or something like that. So again, these are two totally different instinct types, but they're both instinct types. And you might say, well, I have more chemistry with this one guy over here. But again, that dude it ain't worked out. That dude ain't worked out. So again, now you're just hitting your head against the wall over and over and over again. And as you're doing that, you're wasting time. And not only are you wasting time, you're building walls. Because you think that all through all these walls that you're building up, you're going to get that guy, but now he's not going to hurt you, or you're going to find that perfect guy that has that base energy, but the one or two things that you don't like about him now is going to be fixed. And I'm pretty much telling you that's you probably got a 15% chance of pulling that off. It is better for you to just adjust, go into something you don't know, so you can truly focus in on what are the qualities of this man. All right. And like I said, you can change the way you feel about anything using this. All right. So yes, this got long, but hopefully you followed it and you learned something. All right. And anyway, like I said, there's a lot of stuff in the description. Go check that out. Please like, please subscribe, and I'm going to see you all in the very next video.